Hey everyone, welcome to another Tuesday Talk with Hannah. I am coming to you live from my parents' house in Silo, North Carolina. I am standing on their upstairs deck. You can hear traffic noises and maybe some other things too. And I wanted to share today about eye care through the lens of Ayurveda. And fittingly, I just came from the eye doctor. And so our sense organs are really, really important. And you all have probably heard me talk about those before, that the care of our senses really creates how we age. And you can think about, if you, as your experiences being around people who are getting up in their years, in their 70s, 80s, 90s, maybe even over 100, that if they have acute senses, that they seem a lot younger. If they can see well and hear well and smell well and taste well and feel touch. And as we age, our senses can really decline. It's interesting in the United States and the West in general that we don't do a lot in terms of sensory organ care. We do things like go to the dentist and get our teeth cleaned, or go to the eye doctor and get our eyes checked, but we don't necessarily do things to benefit our sense organs. And this is where Ayurveda does such an amazing job, and lots of Eastern traditions of healing, is that they really help with the preventative care, with taking care of the senses, with the real sense of care, right? It's not just, like changing the oil in your car. It's like the daily practices that lead to an outcome that is really beneficial. So I'm really excited to share some tips and tricks from Ayurveda for eye care with you today. And I also want to report, maybe I'll save that till the end, something really exciting from my visit to the eye doctor today. So one of the reasons I wanted to focus on eyes right now is that today is the last day of May, and we're going into June, and in the Northern Hemisphere, we're entering summertime. The eyes are one of the secondary organs or sites of Pitta in the body. Now, Pitta is the dosha or energy that shows up in summertime. In Ayurveda, it's comprised of the elements of fire and water. So the heat energy that shows up in the environment gets echoed also in our bodies. And the primary site for Pitta is the small intestines, and then there's secondary sites. The ones that I tend to focus on are liver and eyes, and those two connect with each other too. And so when we look at ways in which we can go out of balance in each season, we want to look at the primary and secondary sites of the predominant dosha of the season. So I hope that makes sense, that each season kind of has a sense organ that we would focus on for that season. So for summertime, it's the eyes, and we want to take really good care of our eyes. So one of the best ways that we can simply take care of our eyes is wearing sunglasses. And I have been wearing sunglasses, and I might need to put them on in a little bit. My pupils are dilated right now from being in the eye doctor, so more sensitivity to light, but I seem to be doing okay out on this porch. So we want to pay attention to the sense organs that might be challenged each season before there's an issue. Like, we want to care prior to needing care, right? So it's kind of the difference between preventative living and then having to deal with like medical intervention, right? So for the eyes are basically a muscle. So like the pupil contracts and expands, And the ability of the eyes to move in lots of directions requires muscular strength and agility. And just like any other muscles in the body, if you don't use them, they atrophy. And so we need to pay attention to how we are using our eyes. And I'm going to give you some eye exercises in just a moment. If you have been practicing yoga with me for a while, and specifically doing chair yoga with me, you have done eye exercises with me. And eye exercises are something that you can incorporate into your daily routines. You can also incorporate them in like once a week. And they can be extremely beneficial even if you're only doing them once a week. So eye exercises strengthen and help the flexibility of the eyes, which means that they remain more agile and able to function as we age. So remember that term, if you use it or lose it, basically that saying. Same goes for the eyes. So most of us tend to look straight ahead most of the time. We're looking at screens that there's a specific focal length that our eyes become adapted to. And even driving cars now, we have become less adept at actually turning around and looking behind us to back up, because we all have backup cameras. If you have a car that's, semi-new or recent, in the last decade or so, you have a car with a backup camera. And so even that, we're looking down at a screen more than we're actually turning and moving the eyes to look at a different depth of field away from us. So we want to strengthen the eyes, and we also want to know how to relax and rejuvenate the eyes. So think about working out at the gym. If you're like lifting weights to get stronger muscles, you also stretch those muscles and you also rest those muscles. And many of us have never thought about doing that for our eyes. Now is your invitation. So I'll show you some ways to do that. I'm just looking down at my notes. So the lack of variation in movement of the eyes and focal length leads to decline in ability, plain and simple. So we want to keep our ability going. So how do we strengthen, tone, and relax the eyes? This is the big question. Hi to you all that are live. Good to see you. So, and feel free to chime in with your observations and questions if you would like along the way that I'm sharing today. So, a few things that we can do to help the eyes strengthen are eye exercises. And so I'm just going to demonstrate a few of them right now, and I invite you to join me and see how this feels for you. Okay, so the first eye exercise we're going to do is we're going to imagine a huge vertical line in front of us, and you can look out kind of in the distance and just imagine a huge vertical line. So I'd like you to inhale, looking up as high as you can without moving your head. You're just stretching your eyes up as high as they'll go. And then as you exhale, trace the line down and then look down as far as you can without moving your head. So we're not creating stretch through moving the head, we're just stretching the eyes. So inhale, looking up, exhale, looking down. And you might already feel like, whoa, there's actually a lot of sensation in my eyes. Inhale, looking up, exhale, looking down. Awesome. So that could be the eye exercises you do. Each of these eye exercises I show you could be what you do, just one of them per day, but like 10 times. But I'm not going to have us do that right now so that our eyes don't get totally exhausted. Now we're going to do the same thing with a vertical line. So if you keep your head center and then look all the way over to the right as far as you can with your eyes, and then draw a line across the horizon, looking all the way over to the left. Inhale across to the right. Exhale across to the left. So the yogis of yore, so keep doing this one more time, knew that these exercises were really, really helpful. Okay, and then coming back to center, relaxing the eyes. So you might already feel like, wow, I can feel the muscles of my eyes working, or wow, they feel a little tired. And we've just done 3 lines in each direction. So like that can show you how little we actually stretch our eyes. Okay, now we're going to draw circles. So if you imagine a huge clock face in front of you, and if you look up to 12 o'clock, like we started our first exercise, and then draw around. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, pressing your eyes to the periphery without moving your head. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you could do that a couple times, and now we're going to go back the other way. So looking at 12, and then we'll go 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12. Awesome. And then look straight ahead. So doing those circles pushes your vision out. Your eyes are stretching in every direction. And you might notice that there are places where your eyes want to skip or they kind of blur, and you're not actually able to be focused in that direction. And that shows you that there's a real weakness. And many of us have a weakness in a direction. So Michelle just asked, what is the breath for the clocks? Yeah. So I would recommend doing an exhale as you come down and then inhale as you come up. So it's like a breath per half, or you're exhaling like 12 to 6 and then inhaling 6 to 12. And so you're really focusing on the breath too. It's tempting when you're doing eye exercises to hold your breath and to just focus on moving the eyes, but we do want to keep the breath flowing. So thank you, Michelle, for that question. So we can also do stretching diagonals. So again, without moving your head, you're going to stretch your eyes all the way over up to the right, and then diagonal draw down to the left. Let's do that one more time. Right and down to the left. And then let's start up the upper left and then draw a diagonal down to the right. Up to the left with the inhale, and then exhale across and down to the right. So I just noticed that I had a little jump there. I don't know if you all could see that. I can't watch myself and do these eye exercises, but I just noticed doing this down to the right that I had a little jump in my vision. And that's something to really pay attention to. It's like where we need to work. It's like recognizing that a muscle is weak and we need to like show up and be like, we gotcha. We're going to help build you stronger. It's all going to be good. Okay. So that's stretching the eyes. You can also do infinity symbols, which is like sideways 8s, and figure 8s in front of you too. So you're just tracing with the eyes kind of going around, and you can do that slow or fast. The figure 8s and the infinity symbols. Okay. And then we want to help our eyes adjust to different light, basically. So one thing that we can do, this is also cleansing and helps with focus, is to flutter the eyes. So we're just going to blink, 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 blink as fast as we can. And this is cleansing for the eyes, but it's also really helpful for the eye practicing receiving different amounts of light and focus. We're just going to blink, 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 blink. And then you can rest closing your eyes for a moment. And then we're going to do something similar but longer. So we're going to inhale, open the eyes really wide, stretch the eyes open, and then exhale, close, squinch the eyes closed. So we're gonna widen, inhale, exhale, squinch, close, really squeezing the eyes closed. A couple more times. You can practice making your excited face. And of course, we all look kind of crazy when we're doing these. So make sure you're in good company or alone. I sometimes like doing eye exercises when I'm like stopped at traffic lights and just like sit there, like my car's not moving. Don't do this while you're driving. But okay, some questions are coming in. Michelle says, I'm going to use these for daytime hacks with my group. Funny how we forget some of our toolbox. Yeah, awesome. Definitely helpful. And then Rachel says, figure eights one eye at a time. Can't seem to pay attention to both. You want both eyes. If you can do a figure eight with one eye without doing it with the other, that sounds like you need to be on TV or something. Like, that sounds pretty amazing. So yeah, you're tracing, it's like you're tracing a line of a figure eight, both of your eyes tracking together. Yeah. Okay. So those are some things that we can do to strengthen the eyes. And now we want to talk about relaxing the eyes. So I'm going to set down my notes here. So after we do these exercises, you all that have done eye exercises with me, you know we do this at the end. We rub our palms together, create some warmth in the palms, and then close the eyes and place the warm palms over the eyes. And this is so soothing, and it allows the eyes to relax and release in the dark and the warmth. So this is called palming, and this is something that you can do even without doing the heavy lifting before, doing the exercises beforehand. That if you've been at a computer for a long amount of time or driving for a long amount of time, really like using your eyes, stressing them, that you can take a moment, of course not while driving, but when you stop driving, to do some palming. So it's just, and we all know that there's healing energy in our hands too. So having that healing energy go to our eyes is really, really helpful. And then some other pieces that can be really nice for restoring the eyes are using eye pillows. So I like to make eye pillows with flaxseed and lavender flowers in them. If you just have an 8.5 by 11 piece of cloth, you can easily fold that in half and sew it up 3 sides, fill it with sew 2 sides, one side is folded, fill it with the lavender and flax, and then sew up the top. You want to turn it inside out. Those of you that sew, you know how to do this. And so you make just basically like a sleeve, and then you don't want to fill it all the way, like halfway with lavender and flax, so that there's some room in there for it to move around. And then laying down, especially legs up the wall, take a little break at the end of the day, put that soothing eye pillow on. So a little bit of weight on top of the eyes can be really, really nice as well. In terms of restoring the eyes and also dealing with dry eyes, you can certainly moisten your eyes so there's some ancient Ayurvedic techniques, which some clients that I've worked with have been a little like sketched out by, but the original way to moisten the eyes is to put ghee in your eyes before you go to bed. So just a little bit, and I recommend pulling down the lower lid, putting a little bit of ghee on your index finger, pulling down the lower lid and just like scooching it off into the lower lid and then blinking around. It'll make your vision blurry for a little bit, and that's why you go to sleep. So then the ghee can just rest in the eyes. Castor oil can also be used, and castor oil is nice because it's so viscous, like it stays You know, if you put a drop of it on your finger, it stays in a drop. It doesn't like melt and ooze and slide all over the place. And you can do the same thing. Pull that lower lid down, put the castor oil inside the lower lid, blink around. You don't want to do this when you have contacts in your eyes. You don't want to do this if you've just had eye surgery. But in general, if you're dealing with dry eyes, it's really, really helpful. Oh, good. Debbie says, I love the ghee and castor oils. Oh, around my eyes. Yes. So you can also put it around your eyes. And ghee is especially nice for the sensitive skin around your eyes. Very, very nice. And then castor oil is very helpful for the growth of eyebrows and eyelashes. So you can also put a little bit in your eyebrows and your eyelashes before going to bed. It's a beauty secret. I actually, like, that is a tip from Ayurveda, but I first learned that from a client of mine whose mother was Miss Columbia, like the country Columbia. In South America. Her mother was Miss Columbia, and she said, oh, I was telling her to put castor oil in her eyes, and she says, oh, I remember my mother doing that, putting it in her eyebrows and eyelashes to make them very thick and luscious and beautiful for her beauty pageants. So that's a beauty tip bonus on the eye talk right now. You're getting all the good tips. Yeah. So ghee in particular is very calming for pitta. So if you feel like if your eyes are bloodshot or there's lots of heat in your body, you might want to go towards ghee as opposed to castor oil. Castor oil is really good for clearing congestion, but they're both moisturizing. Yeah. So Grace said, I have started using castor oil on my eyebrows and eyelashes. Excellent. Do you have any results to report, Grace? That's fun. And then one more thing that I wanted to mention, I might have a couple more things actually, is that when you sleep at night, we are very affected by light. And especially if you have a Vata predominant constitution or Vata imbalance, that light in your room, either from the moon or from street lights, or even from appliances that you have in your room. And I really encourage you to get everything out of your room, all electronics. I had to search far and wide to find an alarm clock that didn't have a display that shone light into the room, but I found one. It was excellent. So finding things that can be in your bedroom that do not emit light is really, really important. And so if you're not able to, well, even if you are, actually, sleeping with an eye mask is really lovely. And I have started doing this every single night. And I used to just do it during the full moon because I used to not be able to sleep during the full moon. And then I just kept doing it one month. And I was like, oh my gosh, I sleep so much better just having that light blocked over my eyes. So no matter where I am, I just bring an eye mask. And I like the ones that have the little poof out, you know, like it's not just a flat thing that like presses on your eyes, but it like bubbles up a little bit over your eyes. There's like a little space in there for your eyes, but then it kind of comes down around your eyes. So those can be really, really helpful as well for sleep. And sleep is so important for the health of the eyes as well. So resting the eyes, so important. Oh, one more eye exercise that I just remembered that I didn't share with you is to practice focal length. So what I usually recommend is that you hold up your thumb, like you're hitchhiking, and you look at your thumbnail and focus on your thumbnail, and then you look far away, as far as you can. So this is nice to do, you know, in front of a window, if there's a vista, something that you can look really far out in the distance. And so with that, you'd inhale, look at your thumbnail, and exhale, look out into the great beyond. Inhale, look at the thumbnail. Exhale, looking out. Okay, so that's another eye exercise. And then another practice that has been used for meditation and cultivating focus is what's called tratak. And doing traditional tratak is very something you need to get trained in. But the simple wisdom of Tratak is to gaze at a candle flame. So you light a candle, make sure it's like at your eye height, so you're not looking down or up really, you're just looking straight out, and you just watch the candle flame. And this is really helpful for building that like Pitta Agni in the eyes. So the eyes are of a form, they have a form of Agni. We talk a lot of Agni, the digestive fire in the digestive tract, but there's an Agni in the eyes as well for digestion, for us to be able to make sense of what we take in through our eyes. Yeah. So, so Grace says, yes, when I can't sleep, the eye mask has worked well. I should do it more often. Yeah, like I do it every night. So I recommend it, no matter where you are, what you're doing, or what the phase of the moon is. Just have that eye mask. And I feel like it's also kind of a ritual thing of like putting on the eye mask signals to my body it's time to go to sleep. So it's part of the sleep hygiene. Let me check my notes here. For eye health too, Triphala eye wash can be really, really helpful if you have an infection or weakness in the eyes. So Triphala is an herbal churna or combination that is used a lot in Ayurveda, especially for digestive health. But you can soak the Triphala powder in some water, let it cool, strain out the powder, and then use that water or the tea that has been made from the Triphala as an eye wash. And you can rinse your eyes with it. You can use one of those old-fashioned like eye cups and wash. If you're interested in having more in-depth treatments done for your eyes, if you go to an Ayurvedic spa or a Panchakarma clinic, they can do a treatment on the eyes, which is basically building a dough dam. So it's like bread dough gets built around your eyes, and then they pour in warm ghee and fill up the dough dam, and then you open your eyes in the ghee, and that just lets all this nourishment come into the eyes. Yeah. And yes, Rachel is just pointing out that taking Triphala internally also helps the eyes. It does. It is helpful, just supporting the eyes. Yes, taking Triphala internally helps the eyes. Absolutely. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention is there's 2 reflexology points on the soles of your feet. So massaging your feet is a nice thing to do, and a nice thing to do for your loved ones for sure. And the point that's below the second and the third toe, in the ball, like the meaty part of your foot below your toes, so below the second and the third toe, then those points are really helpful to support the eyes. So that's another thing that you can do to support your eyes. So I hope that all of this has been really fun and exciting for you to learn some good self-care tools, some things to help support you. Definitely as we age, we want to be taking care of our sense organs. So in closing, I want to share the results of my experience today going to the eye doctor. So today I went to my eye doctor, who I have been going to see since I was in 3rd grade. So I got glasses when I was in 3rd grade, and Dr. Aldridge in Burnsville, North Carolina has been my eye doctor. And then of course as an adult, I've gone to other eye doctors, but I really love him, and he is still practicing 1 day a week. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to be up here, close by, maybe I could go see Dr. Aldridge. So I haven't gone to an eye doctor in probably 3 years. With moving to Virginia and pandemic, I just haven't gone. So I wear contacts, and I just made the contacts that I have last. And I was getting low on contacts, and I needed to go to an eye doctor. So I went to Dr. Aldridge today, and the results, the short story is, the results are that my eyesight has improved. And so I wanted to share that with you all. I was a negative 4.75 in my right eye and negative 3.75 in my left eye. And the contacts that I am right now wearing have come down that 0.75. So I'm now -4, -3. Nice round numbers. So what was interesting though was that he said, when he first checked my eyes, he goes, this doesn't make sense because I'm also 44, right? So he is looking more for my sight to change for the worse, right? And for me to need reading glasses, which I still do not need. And he just said, this doesn't make sense. And I said, what doesn't make sense? And he said, it looks like your eyesight has improved, but I don't understand why. And I said, I do. I understand why, because I've been doing eye exercises. And he was kind of like, well, I don't know anything about that. So he was trying to come up with all of these reasons why my eyesight could have improved at 44. But I feel like I know why my eyesight has improved. And I am excited. I'm excited to keep doing eye exercises. Again, this is slow medicine. I've had, 3 years since I've had my last exam. So I've had 3 years of doing eye exercises. I don't do them every day, but little by little. And as I talk about a lot, the things that we choose to do are all a vote for who we want to become, who we're becoming next. That's from James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits. And that is just so poignant. I think, when we can take those little steps, it's like, doing 30 seconds of eye exercises a couple times a week. It doesn't take a lot of time. It's just us making that step of like setting the intention, of remembering, of showing up, of making it happen. So habit stacking is really helpful when it comes to that. So connecting the habit of doing eye exercises with something that's already established. Is it while you're brushing your teeth? Is it after you meditate? Is it, right? Like finding something to connect it to. So I hope that's inspiring for you. I'm super excited. When I said I was going to do a talk on eyes, I didn't know what the results would be. So I'm really excited to report that my eyesight has improved, and I'm curious if I can continue to improve it. So those of you that are considering, like, could I do something to improve my eyesight, especially as I age, I hope that feels like a good, big yes. So enjoy doing your eye exercises. Make sure you're not pushing your eyes too hard. Start small and gradually build up. Maybe choose one exercise that you're going to try for a couple weeks and then add more. You can always come back to this video. Have a great rest of your week, everyone, and I will be back with you next week for yoga and more inspirational teachings. We'll talk to you soon. Be well.